The reason given for why we dropped the bomb was that we wanted to collapse Japanese morale. Yeah, that's even on the Wikipedia page. They admit that. It's just, it wasn't really about saving lives. It was just more about collapsing the morale of the civilians by saying, look at this bomb we have. Look how many of you we can kill by dropping one bomb.
The Tucker Carlson versus Ben Shapiro beef is reignited, and Candace Owens is taking the opportunity to absolutely bury Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire once again. Ben Shapiro recently brought up Tucker Carlson for another time about his Joe Rogan Experience appearance whenever he criticized America's dropping of bombs over, in World War II in Japan. A lot of people were very critical of Tucker Carlson, especially, the neocons, the Dave Rubins, Ben Shapiro, Jeremy Boring type people. And obviously people like Candace Owens agree with Tucker Carlson. And I think everybody out there that can use their brain and critically think about what Tucker Carlson was saying to Joe Rogan in that time, you can also agree, or at least see his perspective. Whereas people who are more actors and pretenders about what they actually believe, like Ben Shapiro, they're going to play dumb and act like they can't actually tell what Tucker Carlson was saying. But we all know that they can. They just like to spread the propaganda to their audience because their audience absolutely eats it up. Anyway, let's get into what Candace Owens has to say about that whole Tucker Carlson versus Ben Shapiro beef, because I think she kind of puts the whole thing to bed. She does a really good, job at explaining exactly what Tucker Carlson was saying and exactly why Ben Shapiro, the neocons, the Daily Wire members, why they're wrong about their disagreement with what Tucker Carlson said on the Joe Rogan Experience. Let's check this out.
It's kind of what I have recognized about my public school training. And if you need more proof of that, look no further than the bizarre public defense that people make regarding dropping atomic bombs. Yes, incinerating hundreds of thousands of human beings, and people will defend it just like that. Recently, Tucker appeared on Joe Rogan. I've been showing clips of that. It was a phenomenal conversation. You should go pursue it in its entirety. But he begins talking about dropping atom bombs and says something that I think is quite sensible. Take a listen.
On the right, have spent the last 80 years defending dropping nuclear weapons on civilians. Like, are you joking?
Right.
That's just like prima facie evil.
Yeah.
If you can't, if we hadn't done that, then this, that, the other thing, that was actually a great savings life. No, it's wrong to drop nuclear weapons on people. And if you find yourself arguing that it's a good thing to drop nuclear weapons on people, then you are evil. Like it's not a tough one, right? It's not a hard call for you. It's not a hard call for me.
Yeah, I fully agree with his statement. If you find yourself defending dropping nuclear bombs on innocent civilians, you are not on the side of goodness. Obviously, you're not on the side of goodness. How could you possibly think that that's okay? That's what I think now, at least. Probably not if you had asked me when I was learning about World War II in high school, because I was being severely propagandized. But no sooner did he make this statement than the entire media freaked out on him, because obviously we have psychopaths that are running the media, and psychopaths that love war. They love war so much. They love the idea of killing innocent civilians so much. Like, look at this tweet as just one example of a response. This person actually wrote, "Not only is Tucker wrong, he's dead wrong. Dropping the atomic bombs on Japan was not only necessary, but actually good." Wow. Wow. How do you even reach that level of psychopath? I mean, he is aspiring.
It's because they use like all the hypothetical arguments of, well, if we wouldn't have dropped the atom bomb, if we wouldn't have nuked Japan and all those innocent civilians died, well, then American people, soldiers, could have died. And it's like, well, number one, you don't know that. And when I say American soldiers, obviously they did die, but a lot more of them is their argument for why dropping the atom bomb on Japan was good. And it's like, you don't know that. That's all hypothetical. We don't know what would have happened. We don't. So, like the way that we did, the way that did end up happening, a ton of innocent civilians indiscriminately died. It's not like we told them to get the women and children out of there. Maybe they did have some kind of warning. I don't know. But no doubt, women, children, people who are not soldiers, old people, elderly, they all died. And Candace Owens is going to go into it here in a second, but they also, I think it was like the Catholic capital of the world that they dropped the bomb on. So that's another thing that goes against a lot of American values. And all these people, their whole argument is based around a hypothetical world in which we didn't drop the bomb, that maybe possibly a lot more American lives would have been lost. But then there's a ton of people out there, generals, I believe Dwight Eisenhower is one of them, saying that Japan was about to surrender regardless of if we dropped the bombs or not. You know, so the hypotheticals can go either way. Hypothetically, their argument is correct in that maybe in one world, in one parallel universe where we didn't drop the bombs, yes, more lives of Americans could have been lost. Do American lives weigh more than Japan innocent lives? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. You know, that's up to you to decide. I don't know if innocent lives of any country weigh more than the other. I don't know. It's kind of up to each person. Personally, I say no, but I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me for saying that. I don't think Japan innocent lives are worth any less than American innocent lives. That's just how I feel. But also, you can also make the hypothetical argument to destroy that hypothetical argument that maybe, hypothetically, the opposite could have happened. You know, the hypothetical thing is just, it's a game that you just don't even want to start to play, because then it becomes like, who can make up the best story of what could have, might have, should have, maybe could have happened. It's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What we do know 100% did happen was certain generals and people who study history to this day say that we didn't have to do that. Japan would have surrendered regardless. We could have maybe taken the chance and saw if they would surrender and then maybe drop the bombs if they don't surrender, if they, you know, pursue further aggression, then you drop the bombs. But we did drop the bombs, and we do know that, and a ton of innocent lives were taken, were lost because of it in a horrifying fashion. And all Tucker Carlson is saying is dropping bombs on innocent people is not good. And if you disagree with that general statement, you are probably evil or brainwashed or lying to your audience, because they like to be lied to. They like to stay in the echo chamber of America can do no wrong. And I'm not one of these people that think that America does all these things, like everything that America does is wrong. You know, like the whole people who say that America is stolen land and we should give it back to the natives and stuff like that. That's all nonsense to me. You know, that's ridiculous. America, you know, the land is conquered. That's how things worked back then. That's still how things work in a lot of places of the world. The land was conquered. You know, that's just it wasn't stolen. It was conquered. You lost. We win. To the victors go the spoils. You know, I don't care about that. Dropping bombs when it's not 100% known that it's necessary, I think it's kind of common sense that is a bit evil to defend. You know, especially this far after the fact, where we can see in hindsight all the signs pointing towards us not needing to drop those bombs.
He is like, it's like the Olympics of being a psychopath. He's winning all the awards. She's like, it's not even, wasn't necessary, but it was good. Like, it was a thing that I would say was a good thing to have happened, just incinerating human life. And you know that he's not the only person that believes that, because like I said, we have all been propagandized into believing that we had to kill 200,000 civilians in order, as they told us in school, to save lives. Now that I'm older, I'm like, what? That's literally me to my husband when I buy a dress and I tell him that I saved money.
If you enjoy content like this, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
I'm like, look, honey, I bought this dress for $150. There was a 25% discount. It was on sale, so I saved money. Of course, there's not a single shred of evidence to substantiate my claim, but my husband tells me, like, hey, yeah, that's pretty illogical. And then he hits me with the fact that no money was saved at all. In fact, what happened was I spent $150. The reality is I've just been propagandized by the sale signs. Says it's on sale, says it's 25% off. And so I was brainwashed into believing that I was saving money by spending money. And
you know, the irony of all of this is Candace Owens is 100% right here. And this is why Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire are wrong, is because exactly what Candace Owens is describing. The irony of all of this is, like, growing up, we're taught all of these things, and we're taught that, you know, the stuff that America did in World War II was completely justified. The stuff that certain other people did were completely unjustified. You can't say certain things, but we didn't get shown the whole story. And also, we're told that other countries do that, and they're always like, America is the good guys. But these other countries, when they win wars, they write history in their own way. They write history as if they are the good guys. These other countries do that, and they propagandize their entire population to think that they're always the good guys in every single scenario. Americans, we would never do that. You know, and we're told that throughout school. At least I was told that, you know, the whole time growing up throughout school. A lot of people were told that throughout their time in school, the irony is America does and is doing the same exact thing that they claim all these other countries were doing that America would never do. They are writing history from the perspective of the victors, making themselves out to look like good guys in every single scenario. And I'm not one of those people, once again, that thinks that they are the bad guys in every single scenario, but there's no question that they have done some bad things and are doing currently some bad things to people in other countries as well as their own citizens. There's no doubt about it. So I just always found that very ironic.
That's basically what's been going on when you look at the World War II propaganda. It's like we're just girl mathing hard. Here are the facts, which are hiding in plain sight. Japan had been on the defense for 2 years. Germany had already surrendered. Japan was already negotiating the terms of their inevitable surrender. Factually speaking, the reason given for why we dropped the bomb was that we wanted to collapse Japanese morale. Yeah, that's even on the Wikipedia page. They admit that. It's just, it wasn't really about saving lives. It was just more about collapsing the morale of the civilians by saying, look at this bomb we have. Look how many of you we can kill by dropping one bomb.
One last point that I want to make as well. When you think about, like, when you get taught, when you get desensitized to all these things in school, and desensitized is maybe the wrong word because we're not seeing these things. And that's kind of my point. We're so spoiled and the times are so good right now. Like, and people act like it's not. People act like the world is falling apart all the time. We live in such good times, where I can just hop on a computer and talk and then upload this video and somehow thousands of people are going to see it and they're also going to reply back. And, we can just get information at the snap of a finger anytime we want. Everything's air conditioned. We don't ever have to deal with bad climates or food shortages or, actually a lack of water ever. Like, we always have. The time is so good is what I'm trying to say. So it's really easy to say from people like Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire, all these people who have been sheltered their whole life, probably never lived in a bad neighborhood ever, never seen anything bad in their whole life in terms of that, never seen, you know what I'm getting at. It's really easy to say, oh yeah, it's fine to just drop those bombs on those innocent civilians because they've never seen anything. They've never had to go through any hardship. The times have been so good. We're so sheltered. We're so far away from anything like that could possibly happen in our time right now. To us specifically. Obviously, it's happening in other countries, but it could never happen to Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire and these neocons. So it's really easy to say, oh yeah, like dropping the bomb, that was fine. All those 200,000 innocent civilians, that's fine. It's just part of war. It's really easy to say that when times are so good and you're so sheltered in your life. It's a lot easier to say that. Especially, and also it goes into like how far back that was now. It's not like it was super recent history at this point. It's not like that happened like 5 years ago. So it's also, we're so far removed from it that looking back on it, it's like, it's okay. But if this were to happen, I guarantee you if it happens to, God forbid, America, if that happened to someone in, a state in America, a city in America, Ben Shapiro would have a problem with it, And from the country who dropped the bomb on us perspective, you probably could make the same exact argument as we did for Japan. And Ben Shapiro would have a problem with it. And that's kind of how you have to remove your emotion and your personal bias from these situations whenever you're trying to actually form a good opinion on it. All these people, they don't do that. They have their personal biases and they're just cool with that. They're just, all these arguments and these opinions are emotionally charged. I feel like that's a really foolish way to go through life. Try to remove yourself, your bias and your emotions, and try to actually analyze the situation. And when you do that, Tucker Carlson is completely in the right. Candace Owens is completely in the right.
And factually speaking, even though today the media says you can't debate whether or not dropping the atom bomb was necessary, it was always something that the generals, the commanding generals in the U.S. Army even, said was not necessary. This is a direct quote from General Henry H. Arnold, who was the commanding general of the U.S. Army under Truman. He said, it always appeared to us that atomic bomb or no atomic bomb, the Japanese were already on the verge of collapse. Just behind him, by the way, Eisenhower. He agreed. He said, quote, Japan was at the moment seeking some way to surrender with minimum loss of face. So that was agreed upon.
So if that's all agreed upon, let me know in the comments. Why do you guys think we did drop the bomb? I know the official story is to collapse Japanese morale, as Candace Owens just said. What's the real reason? Because we all know the official story is almost never their actual reason for doing things. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about Candace Owens and her absolutely destroying all these neocons, Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire. destroying them. All these people who were going after Tucker Carlson for that very, very tame opinion that he laid out on the Joe Rogan Experience. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this whole Daily Wire versus Tucker and Candace Owens situation.